we bring in the political director of the Organization of Iranian American Communities, Dr. Majid Sadeghpour. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So first off, I know sanctions are a complex topic. Obviously, the U.S. is not sanctioning Iran directly. The way that the West sanctions Iran, you know, they go kind of in an indirect way to make this happen. How do they make it happen?
Well, sanctions are a way for some to help change the behavior of the other. Relative to Iran, certainly the legislation that just passed the House and bipartisan members of Congress from both the Senate and the House passed it and now signed by the President of the United States puts significant sanctions on the regime in Tehran, both in terms of financial pressure, in terms of holding it accountable for crimes against humanity, the 1988 massacre of political prisoners, and certainly on the terrorism front, holding it accountable as well. But sanctions, as we know, have limits. So first of all, I want to make sure I thank Chairman McCall and bipartisan members of Congress from bringing this legislation forth and passing it. I think it is a significant step in helping change the paradigm on how Iran policy is approached. But as I was saying at the outset, sanctions have limitations. On Iran specifically, we have had a void in policy towards Iran. Pressure is helpful in weakening this regime, and these sanctions help a bleeding regime, a regime that is still trying to recover from the Mahsa Amini uprising that began in September of 2022, and right now is only in power through the barrel of a gun, executing on average 3.5 persons in Iran every day. And so it is important that we look at the policy void. We look at how this policy void must be filled, and the desire of the Iranian people to change the paradigm, meaning that the Iranian people for 4 decades now have been wanting to change this regime in its entirety. But the free world, unfortunately, has been trying to change the regime's behavior. But that paradigm, like I said, is changing. I pointed to Mr. McCall's resolution, and certainly with additional measures in Congress underway now. I point to a House Resolution 1148 that was just introduced last week, latter part of last week. This resolution doesn't just look at sanctions. It outlines what the regime does wrong, but looks to the future as to the actual solutions, because sanctions will not bring this regime or mitigate the threat permanently. The only solution is to actually listen to the Iranian people and support their desire for what we consider the solution on Iran, which is regime change.